Welcome to Music 101. In this first lesson, you're going to learn how to read music. It's not as hard as you think. Besides, I have a few tricks and you'll learn really easy. Now we're going to start way back when there was no TV, no radio, no phones. People would sit around the fire at night, tell stories, and chant, such as, oh, hi-ya-ya-ya, hi-ya-ya-ya. Somewhere along the line, they wanted to share this with the other tribes, but they needed a way to write this down. In India, thousands of years ago, they used palm leaf. I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of leaf was the first form for writing. It started with one line. Even 2 or 3 notes with one line, you could write it down, such as, hey, on the line, below the line, above the line, or back and forth. As instruments developed, it was necessary to add more lines. Besides, 3 notes doesn't give you very much anyway. So somebody said, well, let's add a line on the top and a line on the bottom. So we'll have 3 lines. Okay, 3 lines. Let's look at 3 lines. Now with 3 lines, we end up with 7 notes. We have the space below the first line, on the line, the space in between the 2 lines, the second line, the space between the top 2 lines, on the top line, and the space above, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes, which is our scale. 7 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and then we repeat the same note. Do. Now we do repeat the same note, which is the 8th note then, but 7 notes is our scale. The 8th note is an octave. It comes from the Greek octa, which means 8, like as in octopus or octagon. Here we have for notes octave. It is the same letter name note, only higher or lower.
Wait a minute. You said the same note can be higher or lower. How could that be?
How can it be the same note but higher or lower? That has to do with all of the sounds. Even the sound of my voice is a wave. We have waves like the ocean waves, but sound waves, here's a big one, great big one. This would be very big, so it would be very low. See how many vibrations there are? Vibrates very quickly. Here is the octave. It's even faster. It's twice as fast. Low note, the octave. We use the alphabet for these 7 notes. So if you can learn up to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you can read music. Yay! Let's look at the next step. They went from 3 lines, which was a scale, to 4 lines, and they used that for plain song, which went into the Gregorian chant. I have parchment that is 5 lines, that is Gregorian chant. Okay, this is Gregorian chant. As you can see, there are 5 lines. By the 13th century, 5 lines became the standard. And it was 5 lines for the top and 5 lines for the bass. 5 lines is also called a staff. 5 lines for the top, as we call the treble, clef, and 5 lines for the bass, which we call the bass clef. The signs are called the clef because they tell you where the notes are on the lines and spaces. This treble clef, as you can see, it's very easy to make. You make one big line, and then you make a curve up here at the top, and then you work it all the way around, and then make a big loop around this second to the bottom line, which is the note G. This is sometimes called the G clef. See, you know one note already. Down here in the bass, they take next to the top line and circle it all the way down around. That's your bass clef. Is this where it starts here is the note F. Now you know 2 notes already. And of course in the middle is middle C. You say, oh, I've heard of middle C. Yeah. You ever looked in the piano? Right in the middle is middle C, between the top and the bass. So now you know F, C, and G. Now you're going to say, why doesn't this have a line? It has a separate line all by itself. It's called a ledger line that you can make when you run out of these lines. You make them going up or you make them going down. And for C, we have a ledger line. So now you got F, C, and G. Now we move over to the spaces. The spaces from the bottom. This is the note F, A, C, and E. Face. F-A-C-E. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. Oh yeah, face. F-A-C-E. I remember that. That's as far as I got. Well, I want you to memorize something very simple. F-A-C-E, G, B, D. And what you're doing is you are saying all 7 letters of the alphabet, which are all the 7 notes of the musical scale, every other one. So you get F-A-C-E, G-B-D, F-A-C-E, G-B-D, F-A-C-E, G-B-D, F-A-C-E, G-B-D. Say that over and over and over, and you are going to learn this so quickly. Why do I say that? Well, take a look. We know the bass is F, so the top line here has to be A, middle C, so this line has to be E. Hello, and you know this is G. Well, if this is F-A-C-E, G, then this has got to be B, D, and then F on the top. See how easy it is? How about if you start on the bottom? Let's start on the bottom line. G, B, D, F, A, and then there you go again. Easy, isn't it? Okay, how about F on the bottom here? F, because that line was G, so F is below G. F, A, C, E. Now look at here. E is, if you count this, 1, 2, 3 lines below. Now you know I'm a guitarist. This is where we read the guitar. Bass E is here, from 3 lines down. But we don't use the bass clef. We use ledger lines down to there. So we have E down there for the guitar. A here would be the second line for the 5th string. D underneath, G, and then B and E. However, the clef we read for guitar is actually an octave above what is the actual sound. Remember the octave, the 8th note? It's a little trickier going backwards, but you'll get that too. F-A-C-E, E, C, A, F. We can take this as our top here, F, okay, F, D, because we're going backwards now. F, D, see, D, then B, see, then G, and then E, then C again. Now we're back to A, F. Remember, we're going backwards. I mean G, B, and D. I didn't do that right. So just remember F, A, C, E, G, B, D. And review this video as many times you like, and you will learn to read music. In the next lesson, you will learn about scales, how the notes work.